Okay. So with every market structure, we need to define them, to maybe in our introduction or when we're talking about something new. So we need to know if there are many buyers and sellers or not many buyers and sellers. So perfect competition would have many buyers and sellers. There's perfect information, which means that it's easy to understand who the sellers are, what their prices are, what their costs are, and whether they're selling the same things or different things. They're also all selling the same product, so there's no product differentiation. So in real life, you could maybe think of an ice cream van. Every ice cream van sells the exact same ice cream, and there's not much difference between them. Um, and then there's also no barriers to entry or exit. So imagine if you've got a beach and you've got an ice cream van, and the ice cream van um, makes um, yeah, the ice cream van is selling ice cream, and they maybe might make a profit. So let's just go through what that would look like in the short run. There's four diagrams, so we're going to do short run, then we're going to do long run. But for each, we're also going to do the entire market and just the firm. Okay. So when I say market, that means like the market for every single ice cream van. And when I say the firm, it's just the curves that represent one firm. The market is what you would have looked at in year 12 without realizing the difference between a market and a firm at the time. So the entire market for ice cream vans will look like this. You'll have your price and your quantity being measured in the market, and the market will have a downward sloping demand curve and an upward sloping supply curve. That leads to an equilibrium price of P1 and an equilibrium quantity of Q1. That's just the price of ice cream and the quantity of ice cream that's being sold in the entire market. How one firm would look at that, so one particular ice cream van is they will want to consider their cost and revenue curves. So they will also have a quantity that just they're selling, not every single ice cream van, just for that one firm. And they'll measure their price, their cost, and their revenue. Yeah. Now, if there's a few different ice cream vans in the market, um, or sorry, a few different ice cream vans on that beach at different parts of it, they would find it difficult to charge different prices because somebody could just walk 5 more minutes and find another ice cream van. Therefore, whatever the market price for ice cream is, they're going to accept that and not change it. So they're going to check the market price. They're going to look at the other three ice cream vans and just copy their prices. So if we keep on going across, that would be P1. Now, normally the average revenue curve for a firm is downward sloping, or it represents the demand curve. In perfect competition, the average revenue curve or the demand curve is perfectly elastic. Okay? So that's your average revenue. The reason that it's perfectly elastic is if you think about it normally, if price was to increase, demand would fall a little bit. Whereas in perfect competition, if this ice cream van raised their prices compared to the other ice cream vans, their quantity would not just fall a bit, it would fall completely to zero. That's why there's only one line, that particular price at which there's any demand. Any other price and the demand is gone. Okay, cool. We also know from before that marginal revenue is twice as steep as average revenue. So I'm just going to write equals MR because twice as steep of a flat line is still a flat line. Everything else stays the same. So they still have a average cost curve that's U-shaped, and we can just draw that like this. And the marginal cost curve still goes through the bottom of the average cost curve. The objective of every ice cream van is to profit maximize. There's no point being an ice cream van on the beach if you don't want to make profit. So they know that in order to profit maximize, they're going to look for the quantity that is where MC equals MR. That would be right over here. And that would be their quantity. And if you go up to the average revenue curve, that would be their price. Now, if you go across from here, you can see that their costs are about this much. So they're making this much supernormal profit. Um, I'm gonna give you a few minutes to just write down your answers. I'm just gonna ask some questions. Don't worry if you are not sure, have a guess. Right now, just on basis of this short run outcome, are they productively efficient? Yes or no, and why? Are they allocatively efficient? Yes or no, or don't know, or why? Are they dynamically efficient? Yes, no, or not sure, and why? And also, if you think you know what would happen next on the beach with the ice cream vans if they're in this kind of situation. Okay, so just looking at this outcome right now, if I wanted to test all the efficiencies, let's get dynamic efficiency out the way. So what we just studied is the short run outcomes. Dynamic efficiency can only happen in the long run because it's when firms make supernormal profit in the long run. The issue is we don't know whether the short run will last for 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 month. So therefore, it's not going to be enough profit for them to consistently reinvest. So therefore, we can't tell just from this. Allocative efficiency happens at the quantity where AR equals MC. AR equals MC here. And if we go down, that's where we are. So they are allocatively efficient because AR equals MC at Q1. And lastly, productive efficiency happens where the bottom happens at the bottom of the average cost curve. So the bottom of the average cost curve is where marginal cost cuts. So that would have been productively efficient. So they're really close to it. Their costs are definitely low looking at the diagram, but they're not at the exact minimum point of the average cost curve. Okay, cool. Next question. In the beach, if all of these ice cream vans, one, two, three, four, are making this much supernormal profit from the rectangle, what do you think would happen? So what would happen? Yep, gone.
New firms went to the market.
Exactly. So now we'll have new ice cream vans entering in because whoever can make a profit, they might as well make it. All they're doing is they're selling the same ice cream as everyone else. So what would happen in the market is that um, so we could draw when you do your essays on perfect competition, you can draw them 4 times, but you can draw it in the same diagram. It's up to you. Um, I'm gonna draw it again just so it's easier to organize, and then you can decide for yourselves when you practice. So if we start off with price, quantity, upward sloping supply, downward sloping demand, and I'm just gonna copy the same one more time. So we would have been here. So the way we show this is when new ice cream vans join, the market supply curve shifts to the right. So now at every price level, we have more firms willing and able to sell ice cream. So we still have P1 and now we have Q1. Oh, sorry, we have P2 and Q2. Cool. So if the supply of ice cream vans in the entire market in the beach increases, then each individual ice cream van, would it have more demand or less demand? Well, it would have less demand. So that means that this average revenue curve would shift to the left or downwards. So that would happen to the point where it matches up with, it's meant to match up with this diagram, and it's also meant to go to the bottom of the average cost curve. I'm gonna just skim my line a bit, but it's meant to go just in line here because it would go down and down and down until this point where there's no more profits available. So now if I basically ignored the other line and I just base everything off the red line, they're going to choose again. Every firm is going to try to maximize the profits. Where do they maximize profits? That's where MC equals MR. So MC is this one, MR is this one. That crosses right over here. So if we go down, we get our Q2, and then we also get our P2 and our C2. Basically, that's the new quantity, and the red line shows us the price and the cost for every ice cream van in that market. So every ice cream van is not making any supernormal profit. So that's the first thing. So before, in the short run, we had supernormal profit, yes. We had productive efficiency, no. We had allocative efficiency, yes. Dynamic efficiency, we don't know. And then in the long run, we now have productive efficiency because we're at the bottom of the average cost curve. We have allocative efficiency because our price equals our marginal cost, again here. And we have no supernormal profit and no dynamic efficiency because there's no supernormal profit in the long run. Whatever supernormal profits they were making was only for a short amount of time until maybe, say, the next day when a new ice cream van would drive onto that beach. The two types of questions you'll probably get asked, I'll just share them actually. Okay. Wait, let me stop sharing that. Okay, so firstly, 15 mark questions. So you have explain how perfect competition should lead to outcomes which are productively and allocatively efficient. That just means do two paragraphs. First, explain the short run, and then explain the long run, and that should be plenty of points for you to get your 15 marks. That's pretty much it. And then 25 markers are a bit harder. You've got questions like these where evaluate whether technological change brings. Basically, it's asking, is perfect competition realistic? Is perfect competition becoming more realistic or becoming less realistic? So that's way harder than the 15 marker. The 15 marker is just like writing down everything you understand. And the 25 marker is applying it to real life and asking you to think carefully about whether you think everything we've learned is realistic or not. So that's the harder one, but it's probably better for you guys to try first and then we can go over that in detail. They do also ask questions like, um, they sometimes ask if perfect competition is good or bad, but most of the time they'll ask if it's realistic or not. So that's a good question to practice. Okay.